In today's video, we'll be talking about the pros and cons of using Amazon FBA. So welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the pros, so all of the good stuff, and the cons, all of the bad stuff of selling on Amazon using their FBA service. So if you're a member of Profitl or you've watched my videos before, you'll know what Amazon FBA is. If not, make sure to check out this previous video I've done where I explain all about Amazon FBA in more detail. Before we start, I will just explain what Amazon FBA is very briefly. So Amazon FBA is their fulfillment by Amazon service. This is where you send your products into Amazon's warehouse. They will then sell them for you, advertise them on their platform. When a customer buys them products, they will send them out to your customer, deal with all the customer service, deal with all the returns, all the shipping, absolutely everything. So selling using Amazon FBA can be quite complex and there are lots of parts to it. And because of this does mean there are lots of pros and lots of cons. So in this video, I'll try and be as open and honest about all the pros and all the cons, because albeit it is an amazing service, there are negatives to it as well. So let's get started with the pros first. So the first pro is the customer support. Now Amazon provide probably the most amazing customer support I've ever seen in the world, especially if you are a buyer. Amazon's whole ethos is that the customer comes first, basically. And this is probably one of the reasons why they've become such a huge company. But what this means is for us sellers who are wanting to sell on Amazon, it means that there's a huge amount of buyers on there. And quite often they're willing to pay more money just for the fact that they're buying it from Amazon and getting that Prime badge. So the next pro is instant sales. Now, what do I mean by instant sales? So typically when you'll be selling using Amazon FBA, you'll be selling on listings which already exist. Amazon works by having one central listing. So it's not like eBay where each seller has their own listing. Every single seller on Amazon sells on just one listing for that product, and all of their price is offered on that product, with one main seller getting the buy box, as they call it. Now I'll talk about the buy box in a little bit more information later on. But what this means is you haven't got to do any of the groundwork of trying to promote the product, get reviews or increase the sales rank. You are going to be selling on listings which are already selling. So if you're getting the buy box, you're going to get sales straight away. So the next pro is the ease of it. So Amazon deal with all of the shipping and all of the customer service, all of the logistics, absolutely everything. The only thing you have to worry about is initially finding and buying your products and sending them into Amazon's warehouse. So what that means is it can be a very hands-off business, because they are taking control of the aspects of the business where usually you have to spend a huge amount of time doing work. So the next pro is that it can be very cost effective. Now, all depending on your business setup, there's so many variables which can affect this. You haven't got any expensive warehouse costs. You haven't got to employ a lot of staff to deal with customer service and returns. And what this means is you can build a very large business just by yourself or just with a few people. So the next pro is Prime Delivery. Now with Prime Delivery, most customers are getting their product within 24 hours. And if you're in cities, you can even get the product within a few hours. It is quite possible with their same day delivery service. And then we move on to consumer confidence. So buyers know that when they're buying using Amazon FBA, that they are going to be protected from any issues really. If there's any issues with the product, Amazon are going to sort that for them. So this means people are way more likely to buy the product from Amazon and from you as opposed to other websites. And they'll also often be willing to pay more money just for this consumer confidence. And probably the final important pro is the scalability. As I mentioned previously, the fact that Amazon are almost taking control of every single aspect of your business. You can spend your time on actually scaling the business rather than on the day-to-day task. It also means you're not limited by things like warehouse sizes. You can send in as many products and as many lines as you like into Amazon FBA. And another part of scalability is that how easy it is to sell overseas. So Amazon have a number of services so you can sell your products overseas, like the pan-European service, and this means that you can easily get your products into Europe. Now this is more suited for perhaps private label as opposed to wholesale or arbitrage, but there is so many options and so many possibilities to scale your business within Amazon FBA. Okay, so you've heard all the good stuff and now it's time for the bad stuff. So what are the cons of selling on Amazon using an FBA service? So probably the first con is the rules. Amazon are quite a strict platform. This is all because they don't want rogue sellers selling on there. But what this does mean is that you are always at the mercy of Amazon. So if you don't keep your account in good standing, your account could be taken away from you or suspended. Now, please be aware this doesn't happen very often. It's usually if something's going wrong on the accounts. But sadly in business, things do happen, which sometimes are out of your control. And when you're selling on Amazon, they don't often give you a lot of leeway for errors. So the next con is about being expensive. Now, I know I mentioned in the pros about saying that it can be very cost effective, but this is what I also mentioned is about how your setup actually is. So depending on the type of selling you're doing, the type of product you're selling, it can be quite expensive to sell on Amazon. Every time you sell a product, you have to pay a referral fee. Obviously, if you're using the FBA service, you have to pay an FBA fee as well. And there is also a monthly subscription just for having your account. If you're new to selling on Amazon, this can add up quite a lot, especially in the first few months, and it can be quite hard to break even. Obviously, as you become more successful, it becomes a lot more cost effective, but it's usually just that initial setup stage which can be very hard for a lot of people. Okay, so the next con is about preparing the item. So albeit Amazon do take care of all the postage to your customers, all the customer service, you do have to send the products into Amazon yourself, and you do have to prep all of them products. Now, there's a few parts of the prepping you have to do. So firstly is you're going to have to label up all the products. Now, this isn't every product. Sometimes you'll be able to use the barcode already on the product, but a lot of products require you to add an Amazon barcode on. So what this means is you have to print an Amazon barcode and you have to stick that on the product. So obviously if you've got a lot of products, that can take quite a while. And depending on the type of items as well, they might need different requirements like poly bagging or being put in bubble wrap or things like that. And this can be a timely task for a lot of people. And if you do it wrong for whatever reason, Amazon are going to charge you because they will have to then do it themselves, which can end up being quite expensive. And then probably the final con is customer data. So you don't get access to any of your customers' data. Now, why does this matter? Now, most businesses heavily rely on customer data to retarget the customers, to try and upsell products. And what this means is that because you don't have access to any of this, you can't do any of that basically. Now, this is more of a problem for private label sellers where they're actually selling their own brand. It's not as much of an issue as wholesale and arbitrage because you're not actually trying to promote and grow a brand, but especially for private label, when you're trying to grow a brand, the data you have is so important, and annoyingly Amazon don't provide any of this. So once the customer's bought the product, that is usually the end of it. There's nothing more you can do with that, unless obviously they are very happy with the product and they come back and buy from you again. So that's all the pros and cons summed up. I hope you found that video. Hopefully you can see there's a lot more pros and cons of selling on Amazon using the FBA service. It really is a fantastic way of selling online. But thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're not already doing so, and I'll see you in the next video.